Facebook, but I mean, I can pause this real quick on TikTok and then go
Yo,
over and share it.
welcome back to another Beyond the Flow live. Real conversation, real healing, real change. Y'all, it's your Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach Giovanni, host of the Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast. And I'm here with
Destini Marie, President and Executive Director of Black Mental Pain 2 Incorporated.
Yo, we are talking about boundaries, burnout, and pelvic pain. Why saying no really does matter. And if you check the thumbnail on YT, y'all already know energy leaks equals flare. So I don't know if y'all know much about energy leaks, not having boundaries, or those endometriosis flares, but they are definitely real. But let's get into it. Let's be honest. Let's talk about it, Destini Marie. Do you push through pain because life doesn't slow down, or because you don't feel like you're really allowed to?
I definitely push through because life does not slow down. Life doesn't stop for anyone, unfortunately. And just because I have endometriosis doesn't mean that, there are any shortcuts or anything like that to life. So I definitely pushed through in the middle of a flare up. I actually just got off of my period. I had a ton to do. I was actually traveling the day 2 of my period. So life doesn't stop, but it's really just more so about being aware of your limits, and knowing when, okay, I can push a little bit today, but no, I absolutely can't push a little bit more tomorrow or even at the end of the day today because I've already exceeded more than what I, already have to give. So it's unfortunate, just like with every aspect of life, life doesn't stop for anyone or anything. Life still happens, and that's just the unfortunate part of living with a chronic illness, especially one that's invisible. So people don't always believe that you're in pain, or people can't always see. They may see in your face like you're stressed or you're in distress, but they can't really determine the level of pain or intensity or whatever it is that's happening at that moment.
I agree with you. I agree with you with that. And I feel like it kind of goes back to the conversation we talked about the other week when we talked about pushing through pain, and knowing that pushing through pain isn't normal, but it was all we knew what to do because we had things to do and had to show up. And so I agree with you when it comes to that. I feel like when the pain comes, it gets to a point for some people that it's debilitating enough that they have to slow down. It's a forced slow down with those flare ups. It's a forced lay down. It's a forced find some type of pain medication just so you can even try to breathe because breathing hurts itself. There's so many guests that's been on the podcast, the Empire Plates, the Empire Lives podcast, that has talked about like the pain medication and the narcotics and the strong pain meds, and they talk about how pretty much it just makes them go to sleep, makes them nauseous, makes them go to sleep, but it doesn't really help with the pain because their sleep is just knocking them out versus really helping with getting that pain relief. It made me think a little bit about prior to my diagnosis, and it was really just pushing, working several jobs and just doing what I needed to do. And when the pain would come, it was just more so, okay, how do I breathe through it?
Mm,
One, and breathing was definitely helpful. How do I breathe through it? One, but two, figure out how to keep going because I needed to show up. And I feel like we're going to talk about it a little bit in regards to boundaries. But it's almost like if I don't show up, who will, to make sure whatever
right.
needs to get done still gets done. And so that is our check-in
Yeah,
icebreaker to get the
we
conversation
did have
flowing.
we had a comment on TikTok from ICY, and it says pushing through pain isn't normal and it's hard to slow down when life is lifing.
Agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
I see normal. for dropping that comment and taking part of this conversation, because that's what it's all about, having these real conversations and us engaging in what our true realities are, and what's not normal and what we're doing in order to heal and change that. And so let us know, y'all. Thank you. I see you. Let us know. Do you typically push through pain because life doesn't slow down, or because you don't feel like you're allowed to? I think that also leans into giving yourself permission, Destiny Marie, to be able to slow down, to acknowledge the pain, to navigate the pain and figure out, how can I alleviate this? What's really at the root of the pain? And so I think it goes into permission as well. It goes into, I just got to keep going, because it's either permission to keep going or permission to stop and pause and figure out what's happening. And I think all of that really does matter. Here we go. Crystal with a K. So hard to figure out how to stop or even pause, but it's almost natural just to keep going. And that's real. That is definitely real. And I appreciate that comment. And here's another one. I feel like it depends on the roles you have, if you can slow down or when you are able to slow down.
Yeah.
That's a huge one too. Oh, go ahead.
The only issue with not slowing down is if you don't slow down or you don't take a moment when the warning signs and everything is going off, then we're leading into a bigger problem of, okay, well, I'm not slowing down deliberately. Okay, so next thing is going to happen is my body is going to make me slow down. It's going to make me stop. It's going to make me sit down. It's going to make me lay down. It's going to make me fall out. It's going to make me do whatever the heck it's doing, because we're ignoring, warning signs of something's not right. We need to prioritize ourselves. And I don't even say that to dismiss or diminish that comment, but it's just a reality just of life in general without having a chronic illness, but also just with having a chronic illness. Unfortunately, again, life doesn't stop. So it's just a matter of picking and choosing, like, can I slow down? How much can I slow down? What can I do to alleviate or mitigate some level of pain intensity? It's just about, awareness and education, and then knowing our bodies, and then also just planning accordingly. I know with having endometriosis, you can have a flare up just because you decided to go sneeze, and all of a sudden, like, your body is in pain for the next 3 days. But like, when we're talking about the different stages of the menstrual cycle, planning your schedule accordingly, or not making plans during your menstrual or your luteal phase. So there's small little things that we can do, but unfortunately, we can't always slow down, because life isn't going to stop just because we're having pain.
Agreed. Another comment. I do know the body will force to stop even when you don't. And that is definitely something you just echo with those same sentiments, Destiny Marie. I kind of want to get into this next question. What if your flare-ups aren't really random, but connected to where you don't really feel safe saying no? And that really resonates for me, because it's hard for me to say no when I don't know who is going to stand in the gap for me and still make sure things get done that need to get done, if I am unable to be there. And so I definitely did not grow up with learning about boundaries, understanding what boundaries are, having healthy boundaries, maintaining healthy boundaries, understanding that boundaries are put in place for me to feel safe, for me to be able to navigate relationships and in workplaces in a healthy space, more so than it was about other people that the boundaries might be pushing away from or saying no to them. It was all about me. And so I didn't learn that, Destiny Marie, until after being diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome. It wasn't until I started healing that I started realizing and going and taking things slow when things were wreaking havoc on the inside, and found its way out. Was like, okay, now I'm reading the books. I'm understanding, what love looks like, what life should look like, what forgiveness should look like, what grace should look like, what healthy boundaries do for your life, do for your relationships. And those things I started to learn through reading, through personal development, on my healing journey. That's why I don't really think it's just a health journey. I also see it as a journey of self-love, me getting to a place where I could love myself, be aware of myself, care for myself in a different way that I've never had to do before. When deep inflammation has taken over your body and you have all these chronic conditions you never even heard of and you thought you were healthy at some point, it's a
Mhm.
lot to really understand what that looks like, when it comes to boundary setting. And so I know for me, it was a lot of things I didn't feel comfortable saying no to, because I would understand that goes with my students not getting what they need, because I didn't have anybody to stand in the gap to make sure they still got served. They were still having opportunities, that I was getting things planned and prepared with. Even taking a day off, Destiny Marie, I don't know if there's anybody else that can resonate. Even if I have to take a day off, if I'm sick or I have an appointment, I still had people prior to my diagnosis, while I was navigating, reaching out for something. Like they just needed me to be able to answer a question, or needed to know what needs to happen with this or what happens with that. And I feel like that also, that workplace stress and anxiety on
Mhm.
those that have a chronic condition, and when you need to be able to take off and take care of yourself, like it's almost to a point where you have to then create systems in place to have people be in position in place to be able to, stand in the gap. And if you don't have that, what does that look like for you? And then that's when it starts getting into issues with being able to maintain a job and hold down a job, and different things like that. And so I really saw it for me as not knowing when to say no when it came to boundaries, to feel safe enough to know that that no is saying yes to me. And so I don't know if that resonates with you or anybody else, but that was my question. What if your flare ups aren't random, but really connected to a place where you don't feel safe saying no, no matter what that role might look like?
Yeah, that is a difficult topic, because life is always changing. And for me, like, I've walked away from a job before because it was causing me too much stress. And it gets to a point where, like, what is the priority here? Who's more important, or what's more important? Is my pain level more important? Is my health more important? Or is making bottom dollar for the top man more important? So the CEO and the president and founder and whomever else can continue to live their lavish lifestyle while I'm sitting in here behind a desk or doing whatever, running a clinic, whatever, and I'm in pain and I'm not able to show up and give my all. Because if I'm going to work, if I'm going to do a job, if I'm going to do anything, like, I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm not going to come, I'm not going to slack, I'm not going to do any of that. So being in a place that's, number one, work can get stressful sometimes. Nobody has the perfect job or perfect day, but being in a stressful situation and you're adding more stress on top of that, and then all those layers of stress is causing me harm, we can't do that anymore. And I haven't been in a space like this. Like, in my 20s, boundaries were very difficult for me, and there's something that I'm currently learning, like, right now at this day and age. But I do know and I do realize, and first and foremost, like, I have a chronic illness that's never going away. I have to figure out ways that I can manage it. I have to figure out how I can still be a functioning member of society when I can, in those moments of when I have to be a functioning member of society. But what I'm not going to do is continue to keep myself, my body, my mental in a space that is causing harm to this body that's already causing me harm on a daily just because it wants to. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like once your body starts to tell you you shouldn't be doing that, you listen a lot closer, to what's
Right.
really. Here's one comment: it will get done with or without you there. It can or will wait until you are there and available. And then another one, prioritize you. Prioritize you. And that really goes back into why saying no really matters. It's because you are the priority. We kind of was
Mhm.
talking about it when it came to jobs, but also with boundaries for me, Destiny Marie, was people pleasing. And that definitely played a huge role in fueling my inflammation. I definitely grew up a people pleaser, needing to get that validation from family in order to get the support, or to be able to, I think, share and be open with my feelings or my thoughts, and then having people turn those words around and make me feel bad about what I
Mhm.
said or what I shared, thinking it was a safe space. Though that really resonated, and it made me feel consciously bad, that I let someone down that I cared about or loved, or I didn't was able to make them happy. And I realized that people pleasing really doesn't go back to what Crystal with the K said about prioritizing you. It doesn't honor you when you are trying to honor everyone else's wishes and opinions, and reach their goals that they have for you, versus you even knowing what it looks like for you to have a vision for your life and what you want
Mhm.
out of life, and wanting the support to get behind that vision of and that version of you that you're striving to see. And so I feel like people pleasing also is something that we don't talk enough about when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to people pleasing, and how they fuel these endo flares or these pelvic pain flares, that also could lead to boundary and burnout, on the workplace or just through life. When you're unable to really prioritize you, say yes to you, maintain those boundaries. Do you have any experience with people pleasing, or do you feel like that plays a part in that
Um,
fueling information?
I feel like I don't think I'm a people pleaser, but this may sound redundant what I'm about to say, but I think there's a slight bit of a difference. I don't think I'm too much of a people pleaser, but I'm also willing to be uncomfortable because I know I'm
Mhm.
making somebody else uncomfortable. Um, and that, of course, causes internal stress because there's a whole bunch of emotions going on. Me wanting to stand firm on what I say, how I feel, what I'm not going to do, what I am going to do, versus this other person that's asking for X, Y, and Z, and me trying to, I don't want to say compromise, but me trying to figure out a way that it doesn't 100% give into them, but still makes me feel okay. Because there's definitely been situations, and it's just the type of person that I am, and maybe that has something to do with my upbringing. I have an issue with not being comfortable and me being okay with that. And I think that more so goes into like the whole mental part of endometriosis, because we have the mood swings and the feelings that we get sometimes. And I think that part of me plays more into the emotional mental part of everything else that I have going
I'm with you on the mood swings. I'm with you on the
on.
mood swings.
For
And I
real.
don't like feeling uncomfortable. I don't like having hard conversations, but I'm realizing as I continue to evolve and learn how to manage my nervous system and relationships, have boundaries, and value my yes and my no. I'm realizing how important it is to be able to have those conversations, to create those safe spaces, and being okay with, like you said, the uncomfortableness, and being
Mhm.
okay if it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, but knowing that you at least showed up for you and articulated what you needed or what you cared about or your perspective, or what it is that you need, because sometimes support doesn't look like how many people you're adding to the mix versus how many people you're kind of letting go of, to really just figure out what you need, because sometimes this might not be people, but it might just be needing more of you, and how you show up, love yourself, care for yourself, how aware you are of yourself, of those mood swings, of those different phases of the cycles, when you're needing different things for yourself or for others. And I think that's a huge thing, Destiny Marie, is when you're navigating those things and you just don't know. So I'm starting to enjoy the hard conversations more than I ever thought I would, just because I'm understanding that those hard conversations is me advocating for that inner me that
Mhm.
deserves to be heard, that deserves to be valued. And it's okay for me to say yes to me. And if that no is for somebody else, they will be okay, because they have to figure out their yes and their no for them. And so I think that that really helps preserve people, Destiny, when it comes to their boundaries, when it comes to burnout, when it comes to managing flares, when it comes to managing a chronic condition, when it comes to just trying to not fuel the inflammation in your life that keeps things wreaking havoc on the inside out, and just kind of keeps you kind of off your kind of, your square a little bit. I kind of want to talk about what does healthy boundaries and look like in our lives. I would love to kind of end the conversation on that. Is what does healthy boundaries look like? What does a healthy life looks like when you're trying to manage a flare, or you want to, reduce the energy leaks that lead to flare ups? What does that look like for you, Destiny Marie, and anybody else that's listening?
I think that basically an extension of what we were just talking about, saying no. I have no problems saying no. Like I have no problem standing up for myself. I have no problem saying no. It's just certain situations where like that uncomfortability comes into play. But if you are, number one, prioritizing yourself, and number two, that you are aware of your body, your symptoms, and your triggers, being proactive when, okay, so if you know you can't eat chocolate because if you eat chocolate, it's going to give you, like, your stomach's going to hurt, you're going to be nauseous. So if you're going to do it still, just be proactive about it. Eat your chocolate at a time of the week or at a particular time of the day where you know it's not going to cause any, issues with daily living. But I do feel like having those parameters of being able to say no, and then having those parameters of just being aware and being proactive, of monitoring your body, listening to your body, and then prioritizing yourself when you need those moments of, okay, so I can go to lunch with you, but I can't go shopping with you afterwards. Or yes, I can see you today, but I'm probably not going to be able to see you tomorrow. Or yes, I did see you today, but I'm not going to be able to see you tomorrow because I am feeling X, Y, and Z. Saying no and being proactive would just have to be my answer to that question, because with the no, you can dictate where your energy is going to, how much energy you are exerting into whatever situation it is, whether it's work, a friendship, you're at school, whatever it is, being proactive and just knowing what's going on, and then just taking the time out to listen to your body and prioritizing yourself. Because again, like I've already said, if you don't sit down, your body will make you sit down. And continuing to run when you're in the middle of an endometriosis flare is really just going to make the flare even worse, and it's going to extend the time that you're in this certain flare, because all you're doing is just continuing to add more inflammation and more stressors into your body. So you're just giving your endometriosis a whole bunch of sugar to continue to run havoc in your life during that time period. So my answer would be saying no, being confident in your nose, standing on your nose, and then prioritizing yourself.
Got it. So I kind of summed it up in about 5 ways, and I was going to try to see if I could come up with another 5, just so we leave the people with 10 ways to really help with energy leaks, burnout, saying no, prioritizing yourself. So I got 1, say no; 2, prioritize yourself; 3, be aware of your food triggers; 4, listening to your body; 5, identifying healthy limits. And then
Mhm.
I went with 6, remembering that your boundaries are for you and not for others. Like, I think that was a hard thing for me at first because so many people get offended about the boundaries that you create
Mhm.
as if the boundary is about them when it's all about you. And so always remembering that boundaries are for you and not for others. 7, preserve your energy. Like,
Yeah.
you have to protect your energy at all costs. And there are people that want to suck out your energy and just drain you. They have negative vibes. Like, all of that plays a part in your health and in your healing. And so you have to preserve your energy at all costs. That was 7. 8, be mindful of your nervous system. Like, when things start getting off with you, when it comes to your nervous system, when you start feeling like those panic attacks, when you start getting jittery, when you feel like your heart rate is going up, when you just don't feel right around certain people or things or places, like, be mindful of your nervous system, because your nervous system is speaking to you. It's a system that's not trying to let you down. It wants you to know that something ain't right with the direction of what things are happening and how things are going.
Mhm.
9, be your primary support system. So many times people are looking for other people to be there for them, heal them, care for them, love them, when you have to be that number one person for yourself. And it kind of goes with prioritizing yourself, but when it comes to the support, sometimes you need to support you. You need to think about what it is that you're doing, how you're living, how you're moving and navigating through life, how you're making decisions, how you are shaping your thoughts, your feelings, and beliefs around your experiences, around life, about your condition, your identity. Like, that is really important. So be your primary support system. And then 10, love you regardless. Like, that this
Hello.
is a lot when it comes to managing a chronic condition, when it comes to just navigating life as a Black female in America. You just have to remember that you have to love you regardless. Give yourself grace, give yourself patience. Know that it's a journey, not a destination. You're going to be on this thing for a while. Like, how you go about your wellness and your well-being and your healing is really all about how you're living, and you want to keep living
Right.
every single day. So just really know that you need to love you regardless of what's happening, what's going right, what's going wrong, what's going up, what's going down. Just don't stop loving you. And I think that to me feels like these are the best 10 that I can think of, for us to really just lead the people with how to, one, maintain, identify those boundaries, help them with
Mhm.
reducing burnout and pelvic pain, and really preserve and conserve that energy so it doesn't lead to the flares, and the flare ups of life. And so I hope they enjoyed that, Destiny.
Yes, I see why on TikTok said "love you" in all caps
Absolutely.
because that is extremely important. And loving yourself goes back into prioritizing yourself because when you love yourself, you're going to take yourself, your life, your health, everything seriously, and nothing and no one is going to come between you and whatever it is.
We got it. We got it. We want to go ahead and let the people know. Got some comments over here. Say no. Boundaries are for you and not others. I love this. Preserve your energy. You need to support you. Yes. Love you regardless, period. And so I really appreciate y'all for engaging with us, with the Beyond the Flow live, where we're having these real conversations about real change, real healing. Destiny Marie, let everybody know where they can find you, connect with you, what you got for them in the show notes over here, on YT.
So you can find Black Men Feel Pain 2 online, www.blackwomenfeelpain2.com. You can follow us on IG, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Everything is at Black Women Feel Pain 2. The YouTube channel is specifically mine. So on YouTube, it's just at Destiny period Marie, and Destiny is with an I, Destini period Marie period. On the website, we have a ton of resources. So we have blog posts. We have a digital tracker that you can download and fill out and take with you to your next doctor's appointments. We have coloring sheets, and the website is actually about to get updated because we're going to start putting some products on there of our recommended products. And then is Endometriosis Awareness Month. March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. So we are accepting stories I actually am full. Like I have all of my dates full, but I keep getting people reaching out to me saying they want to share their stories. So if you're interested in sharing your story for Endometriosis Awareness Month, you can send me an email. And then you'll send me the email, whether it is an actual email or an audio post, and we'll get your story posted. And the email address is bwfpt22@gmail.com.
There you go. And y'all can find all of her information in the show notes here. If you're tuned in on FB or YouTube, everything that she just mentioned to her website, all of those things, and her symptom tracker that she has for you all as well is linked in the show notes. Y'all, it's your Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach, Giovanni. What I want you to do is I want you to take the Spot Your Triggers quiz. I want you to be able to identify where in your life could you be ignoring what's fueling your pain, what's fueling inflammation, that's disrupting you from being able to truly heal. And I also want you to make sure that you get the healing breakthrough session. I want to be able to talk to you 30 minutes uninterrupted, have the conversation about your Spot Your Triggers quiz, and really start to identify what your life is looking like. Where are you right now in this thing called life? And really start to help you identify what that first plan of action looks like, with really helping shift your lifestyle so you can start moving out of what I like to call survival mode inflammation, because we've been living there too long and losing too many years thinking that it's normal having to just push through pain. So check out the healing breakthrough session. Everything is in the show notes. You can go to fourvibrations.me website. Also, y'all check out the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. A new episode will drop this Wednesday. Episode 130 just dropped last week. So plenty of information for you to really go out there and listen and get empowered of what healing could look like for you and what you can do to own your healing journey, because it's your healing, your journey. I'm just excited to help you thrive along the way. Y'all, it's been another episode of Beyond the Flow Live, coming to you every Monday. Right now, we are on 3 different platforms right now, on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. So make sure that you are connected with us on your favorite social media platform. Thanks for vibing with us, y'all.
Good night.